Hey everyone, my name is Bucsay or Bucsay, depends on where I live, and this is your phone spying on you. So I hope you had a good lunch. Everybody's sleepy, so I'll try to do a good show. Hopefully that will work out. So a little bit about me. Again, my name is Balazs or Bucsay. You can call me Buzz. I understand it's a tricky name to pronounce, which is fine. I have over 2 decades of IT security, offensive IT security experience. In the past 15 years, I was mainly doing research and consultancy. The 2 companies that I worked for, probably you know them, maybe you know them, it's Vodafone and NCC Group. And 2 years ago, I decided to found my own company, which is Bucsay Information Security. And also a software reverse engineer, as you will see. I started to do assembly when I was 13 years old, and I picked up a few skills. You can find me on Twitter and LinkedIn. Please follow me or send a connection request, please. And you can do the same to my company, Bucsay Information Security. I like to do crazy stuff as well. So last year I went on the Thames and I kayaked from Source to Greenwich in London, which took me 9 to 10 days, about 300 kilometers, 200 miles. And this is the company that I was talking about, Bucsay Information Security. This is a boutique consultancy company. We do traditional pen testing, web application, infrastructure, mobile, cloud, source code, and so on. Specialized trainings like ransomware detection and software reverse engineering. So if you're interested, just go on the website, check it out. I have a lot of cool stickers here and business cards if you're interested. Also, I just released a book, this is a scam, it will not stand. This is for non-technical people about scammers. So there are 11 chapters. In every chapter you have 2 interconnected stories. One story is about the victim being scammed, and the other story is the scammer scamming the victim. So it's interconnected, it's well explained. There is different topics about everything. So this is for non-technical readers. You can download it for free. You can send it to your mom, to your grandfather, to your grandma, and they may be better protected than others. This is free because I want to help people, so you can help people as well by spreading the word. Just go on the website, please, and download it. Again, it's for free. So let's talk about that device. It's a Cisco IP phone. I had to do a research job on these devices, and it's a joint effort with the Da Vinci Labs. They did the hardware bit, the chip off. So in that chip in the middle, that's the flash that contains the firmware. They removed the flash, read out the firmware, and give it to me. I was doing software reverse engineering. We had 3 devices in scope. Those are listed on the side. One of the devices are just here on the seat. So we also downloaded the stock firmware from the Cisco website, which was available. It's kind of the same as we dumped, but it didn't have the running configuration either. So we quickly realized that even though we had 3 different devices in scope, all devices had the same firmware, so we had to do basically 1 analysis in total, and we found a few issues. So first of all, this is Cisco. I've seen these devices. So previously I worked for a big consultancy firm. I went around Europe, Asia, and whatever. I went to so many offices, like financial institutions, government offices, and I've seen these devices all around. Have you seen these devices? Hands up, please. Yeah, exactly. So these are really widespread. We don't tend to use IP phones that much anymore, but these are still there, right? Sometimes PCs are connected to these devices, and that's how they get internet access or network access, right? So my baseline was I'm not going to find anything because it's a Cisco device, it's a big brand. Also, the device is widespread, so it must be tested like 100,000 times. This is one of the devices that I'm talking about. This is the other one, and the third one, right? So I'm pretty sure you've seen these devices before, and easily you did. Even if you didn't, this is one guy who used it. Probably you know him. It's ex-president of the United States. So these devices are not exactly the same that we had in scope, but these devices from stock using the same firmware, right? Use the same firmware. I'm not sure about the president, the White House, and the Old Office. They might use a different firmware for different reason. But there's this guy. This is a recent photo, right? This is Trump, President Trump from the Oval Office, and he's using same devices. This picture is from February. So I thought that I'm not going to find any issues, but the reality is quite different. So I find quite a few issues, and these are the CVs that got assigned to a few of them. Not all the issues got CVs assigned. The first issue that I found is that the information leak, this doesn't have a CV. If you go on the device and you open the /log/messages, then you will find the bar log messages file, which is the log file for Unix operating systems. The device running Linux, by the way. And in this log, you will have, basically it's an information goldmine, right? So you have all the information that you could need if you are doing the research or some kind of reverse engineering. It's really useful to have that. This one even had stack traces when you crash the process, and that's the next one actually. It's a denial of service vulnerability that I found. I got a CV, it's unauthenticated. If you send the right payload to the device, it's going to crash the service. And the funny thing about it, that the device has watchdog service as well. So if you are crashing the same service multiple times, then it's going to reboot the device. So if you send the same payload over and over again endlessly, then the device goes into this reboot loop and you won't be able to use it, or your computer that is connected to it. The second buffer overflow that I found, I was really happy with it. I thought it was going to be exploitable in a better way like that in the shell, but turned out it's a BSS buffer overflow. BSS is the segment where you store the initialized data in the memory. And basically you can do pretty clever stuff with it. One of the initialized bit that was there, one of the variables was an HTTP proxy, so you can set your own proxy, and some of the data is going to be sent through your proxy so you can intercept the traffic. Other than that, you can crash the device and put it in a reboot loop. And I think the most ridiculous and cool and fun one that I found is basically 3 different API endpoints that are using TCP dump. So TCP dump, if you don't know it, it's a Unix tool that can be used to capture data from the network on the interfaces. One of the API that I found there was starting TCP dump, the second one stopping it, and the third one let me to download the PCAP file, the packet capture file. So that's really funny because it's unauthenticated, so you can do that from the network, and also we are talking about the VoIP phone that might have your computer connected to it, so everything goes through that phone. So I wanted to do a demo here. I have a few scripts, so not to take your time so much. And I'm going to start capture. And I need a volunteer who picks up the phone, please. Oh. Hello, can I tell you a joke? Yeah, so it's about UDP, so you would get it. That's it. Thank you, yeah. Okay, so that was hopefully capturing it. And I have a script to stop it, another script to download it. And if the demo gods are with us, then I have the PCAP file here. And I can go into Wireshark, play screens, and let's see.
Hello? Can I hear you? I think I can, yeah.
Yeah, it's about you.
Thank you, yeah.
I'm not sure if you hear that, but I tried my best. Thank you. So, the impact. As you know, millions of devices out there. The firmware was patched by Cisco last year. It was released in May. So people had time to patch these devices. Still, there is no automated way to update the device. There is no OTE, so you need to do everything by hand or remotely through XMIB, I believe. And I haven't told you that I only had 5 to 10 days to do this research, so I believe this is the tip of the iceberg there. And I have a few open questions for you guys, which I'm not going to be able to answer, but I'm really happy to have a conversation after the talk about these, or like, I don't understand how these issues can be in firmwares like this. Like, these devices are around there for the past 10 years probably, or even more. The firmware must be somewhat the same. These are coming from Cisco, so there must be people who tested these before. And what about NSA? Have they tested these devices? Do they know about these issues? If they know, why is it not fixed? What about the White House? They use the same devices, probably different firmware, but why do they use different firmware? Because of issues like this, or different reasons? Do they have these vulnerabilities in those firmwares? No, I'm sure. Is it ignorance, incompetence, or something else? I'm afraid to ask these questions, to be fair. And just in general, what can we think about the state of security of the devices in general? I think it's quite terrifying. And also, I think closely connected to this topic, I wanted to talk about like my mindset, the researcher mindset here, and I want to encourage you to do more research this way. So I think the researcher mindset, or doing research, is more than sitting down and doing stuff. It's basically a mentality. So if you are really curious, if you are curious, it's bigger than your fear, then you are already a researcher. So you can sit down, you can do your own research, and it doesn't have to be groundbreaking, right? You can just do your stuff, you can learn from it, and anything that you take away, that's a win. You don't need to prove anything to anybody. So just be curious, and you don't need to know everything. You don't need to know anything to be fair. Any time you spend on research is going to come back. I think one of the bottlenecks, one of the reasons why people don't do research that much is basically the success rate. I only ballpark these numbers, but I think it's like 90% of the time you are going to fail. 5% of the time you are going to have some kind of success, some kind of win, and that's not a really good rate, but this is how it works, so you just need to live with it. There are no guarantees, so whenever you try to do something, you don't know which direction you should take, and that's why you are going to fail so much. Have you tried bug bounties before? Hands up if you have tried. A few of you. So you know very well, there is no guarantees that you are going to find anything, and even if you find something, that might not be accepted. There is the imposter syndrome. I don't know if we all have it. I definitely have some of it. It doesn't, just because I'm standing here doesn't mean I don't have it, or any other speaker. So, the difference is that you need to handle it. You need to learn how to handle it. Yeah. And because of the success rates, the burnout is quite high. I believe you can have a really bad streak when nothing comes out of it and you just give up. So that's obviously not a nice thing to have. There is emotional roller coaster because of a lot of fails and a lot of wins, or some of the wins. You are always in a very low state, and that's why you have emotional highs that might be very high. Just to give you a few examples, for example, I was doing this research. I found the crash on the device after a few days. I was really happy with it because I had the stack tracing, the logs and whatever. I thought that it's going to be exploitable, and 5 days later I realized that, okay, this is not exploitable, at least not in the way that I thought. So I wasted, let's say, 5 days on something that didn't work out. That's a really high emotional high where I started, and a very low when I stopped. If you done bug bounty, you might found a critical bug. We see these messages on Twitter all the time that somebody found one and they get $5,000 or 100,000 or whatever, and you might thinking about the money, you might thinking about fame, you submit it and it get rejected, declared for some reason, you either don't understand, or somebody found it yesterday or found a year ago and they didn't bother to fix it. These things happens. And the assumptions, this is really important, I do. I had this issue all the time. I thought that these devices are going to be tested like 1,000 times before, which seems not to be true. So that was an assumption that wasn't true at all. Then sometimes I have a really trivial test case that I want to test, and I'm saying to myself that there is no point to test it because it's so trivial. They think about it, they thought about it, but that's not the case. Some of the Sometimes you just need to test. Well, every time you need to test everything, basically you will find some stuff. And also there is this saying or thinking that, okay, this is a trusted device, a trusted service, it must be good. Well, trusted by who, right? Not trusted by me, that's for sure. And big brands doesn't equal secure. Also, that's true. This is Cisco. They have a lot of money, they have really good processes in place, but they make mistakes. So I'm not trying to bash on Cisco, they did a really good job with the responsible disclosure. I'm just telling you as an example that these kind of things. Also, when I do research, when I present my findings, when I do presentations like this, I find that people think like this, they have a linear mindset. So I talk about my research, I talk about my results. They tend to connect that two dots with a direct line. And that's unfortunately not how it works. This is more like how it works. I do research, I have one idea, I fail tremendous amount of time. I have an idea, again, idea 2, then I fail again. Idea 3, not working out, idea 5, whatever, and at the end I have a small success or big success, and that's how it works. It's more like a tree, and you don't know where you are going, whether you are going to find anything or not. I'm telling you, a lot of researchers end up with an empty tree with no success, but that's fine, that's how it works. So, just whenever you find something in news, think about that kind of mindset I just explained, because just because a bug seems trivial, it doesn't mean that it's easy to find. The support is really important. I find myself jealous time to time when I read those Twitter tweets or articles about bugs. I could have been finding those issues, but for some reason I didn't, right? So there is no point to be jealous, that's what I'm telling myself, because that's not going to move me forward. What I need to do, sit down and learn stuff, waste time on it and do stuff. Also, positive and constructive feedback I think it's really important when you're talking to a researcher or a friend or anybody. To be fair, I think it applies to life, it's not just research that we are talking about. Responsibility is a key in there. Whenever you find an issue, it's a nice thing to report it and get it fixed. You have different ways to do that. It's not a full list, but these are kind of listed here. There is responsible disclosure, full disclosure, non-disclosure, commercial. So think about this, you have a responsibility, but the responsibility goes to different groups. Like, it can be the vendor because you are trying to help the vendor, but sometimes the vendor doesn't care about anything else but the profit. So that's not a really good approach when we are talking about responsibility, right? So what you want to do, you might want to do like full disclosure, because that's a better way to do it, just to protect protect the clients of the vendor or the end users, because they are more important than the company itself. So yeah, there are different ways to do that. And just closing notes, I just wanted to give you a few things. Basically, I have this saying, this is my favorite saying, the comparison is the thief of joy. Don't try to reach out to others, because that's pointless. I always need to remind myself, I won't be the best at anything. I can be the best of myself. I can't be the best at anything, everything or anything, but I can be really good at least. Never doubt yourself, because that's going to help you, and don't build up imaginary boundaries either, because that's just going to stop you. And I think the most important thing is make time or waste time, because that's going to give you some experience and knowledge, and that's how growth happens. If you don't waste time on it, then you are not going to grow. That was it. Thank you for being here. That was a little bit faster than I thought. Sorry about rushing it through. I tried it and I thought it was going to be... Yeah. So any questions? First, please.
So, am I right in saying the CCP knowledge is essentially a product feature, right? Someone built one.
Yeah.
What did Cisco say in the report about? Did they give any explanation? I mean, it's not an oversight, right? They built it on purpose.
So it was a joint effort. I found it, I reported to the company that I worked with, DaVinci, and they reported it. I'm not sure of the feedback, but I didn't get any feedback, and I don't think they got any feedback other than, okay, here's the fix, here's the advisory, and that's it. So yeah, and the TCP dump is a feature on these devices. The main issue was that it was unauthenticated. Yeah. Speak up, please.
Given that you're able to access TCP dump, did you try to rename the environment and execute that instead?
No, you can't access the binary itself. You have an API endpoint that you can call from your browser or web or whatever, and you can start the TCP capture process, and you can stop it, and you can download the PCAP file. Thank you.
And you mentioned, there's lots of context actually around network PCs in large commercial organizations, and I know that I've seen them at work with this. What exposure, what risk does that introduce to the network traffic between the PC and the network? Is it just the capital phone calls themselves, or is it exposed?
Okay, so if I understand your question and the context right, basically these phones are put on the network. For some reason, you can connect your computer to it, and everything is routed through the phone, right? TCP dump that I exploited, let's say, captures data on all interfaces. So even on that interface that you plug in your computer, so when you are browsing through the network, everything goes through the phone, whether it's encrypted or not, and that's the risk. Sorry, did that answer your question?
Yeah.
Cool. You work for FSB, right?
The land's secure, so the control device, the land's secure. So the chances of the capture place means that there is a physical infrastructure in the plant. So a secure land, this process, and then WAN is just a crap out, and it won't be able to be itself to PSTN or go through anything. So any traffic going between the parts will be encrypted for that phone system. So that's how we put that.
Okay, so
Be honest, vulnerabilities in the actual phone system. The NSA aren't going to be ones to put their hands up once it's patched.
yeah.
Going over super skinny.
SIP. Yeah.
Well, like, I know those phone systems, and you can put certificates on and TLS the traffic. So should Cisco not like demand?
Okay, so
I know he does it.
yeah, exactly, and I personally, I feel like that you can have multiple security layers. One is encryption, the other one is not having this bug, VLANs, inter-network, whatever. You should have all of them. These are really optional. And if you have a bug like this, you don't have at least one of the security layers in place. So these needs to be fixed and patched, and this is just the tip of the iceberg. So I found these issues in 5 to 10 days. I guess there is more, maybe exploitable buffer overflows, and you can take over the device and you can send malicious data from it, and that's going to be other issue. So just because I had this to present, it doesn't mean that there is nothing else.
Can you tell us more about how you find and trigger to the buffer overflow?
It's an HTTP request. I think it was one of the headers that you sent, and you just sent too many characters, and that was it. That was one. I'm not sure about the other one. Maybe that was like something like SSRF first. It was more than a year ago, actually. So I don't. I can answer you in private. Any other questions? Yeah.
How do you find the endpoint TCP dump? Was it based on the code, or?
Yeah, really good question. So that's basically relates to the researcher mindset bit of the presentation. You can go on the device, you can push the buttons, you can find it easily. But what I did, because I didn't know how to start, I started to reverse engineer. I found the endpoints, how it handles in the source code in the binary, when I reverse engineered it, and I started to try unauthenticated, because by default it was unauthenticated. So obviously there are trivial ways, linear mindset, you can go straight to the point and you can find it that way, but if you don't know the way to that, it's not going to be straight. Yeah. Thank you.